A new shade of pink is amazing. Hello and welcome back to Reamlore, and today we are looking at what is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers' best storyline in Season 3. A 10-episode story called A New Shade of Pink, also known as Kimberly's departure from Power Rangers. I didn't talk about Season 3 when I was doing my big Tommy Oliver retrospective, and that's because the story arcs weren't about him specifically. But Season 3 of Mighty Morphin, you could argue, is the best out of all 3 seasons. Mostly because there is a heavier focus on long-term storylines. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy filler episodes of a show, especially if they have a big cast of characters to focus on like Power Rangers. But my main forte will always be long, in-depth storylines. And Season 3 of Mighty Morphin is filled with them. This is the storyline where we say goodbye to the first ever pink Power Ranger, Kimberly Hart. Amy Jo Johnston decided to leave the show because she wanted to pursue other projects and agreed to be in most of Season 3 so they can find a replacement. And they had one ready to go. A very charming Australian actress known as Catherine Sutherland. She was originally chosen to play Dulcia in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, but was switched out because she was too young. The creators really liked her though, which is how she landed this role. So that's what we're talking about today. The 10-episode story arc where we meet Kat and say goodbye to Kimberly. But how does it hold up all these years later? Let's find out. My name is Rocko from Reamlore, and let's dive in. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Subscribing is completely free and you can always change your mind. We upload great videos just like this one on our Reamlore channel. Make sure you're subscribed with that bell pressed to get notified when we upload. The first part of this massive story is the two-parter called A Ranger Catastrophe. The story of this revolves around a cute white cat Kimberly and Aisha find and adopt, naming her PC, as in Park Cat, and she's adorable. As we quickly learn though, it wasn't a normal cat, but rather a girl named Kat. She is pure evil and trying to infiltrate the Rangers in their personal lives as well as provide detailed information to Rita and Zed. I'm just gonna say this right now, Catherine Sutherland being evil is great. Just like with Tommy when he showed up as the Green Ranger, Kat is just wonderfully evil. Why didn't we get more of evil Kat after this storyline? Boom Studios, get on that. The plan works great as Kat gets really friendly with Tommy before tricking him into a dimensional trap. From there, Kat turns into a cat monster and has a bunch of really cool fights with the Rangers. Tommy, meanwhile, has to fight off Goldar and Rito in a dimension by himself, and again, it is awesome. Also, Rito, what an amazing bad guy, because he is hilarious. He's like Patrick Warburton. Everything he says is funny, even when he's telling the worst jokes. And he's still super powerful and threatening. Billy does manage to get Tommy out of there, and with the help of Tommy and Ninjor, the Rangers manage to destroy Kat's monster form. But it's not a total loss for the bad guys, as we see Kat working her magic, saying she just moved here from Australia and the Rangers befriend her. And she still has her white cat form, which allows her to be in earshot of the Rangers at all times, bringing the first part of the storyline to a close. Next up was a 3-part storyline called Changing of the Zords. If you thought the Rangers were up against the wall last time, things get so much worse for them in this 3-parter. We catch up with Kat, Kimberly, and Aisha, and in the time in between stories, they have gotten really close as friends. As well as Kat developing a crush on Tommy, and Rita did not plan for that. Kat gets close enough to the point where she steals Kimberly's power coin. The reason Zed and Rita want the coin is because they found a new fleet of Zords on the planet Zordnia, the Shogun Zords. Finster can bring these Zords to life, and all he needs is a power source and access to technology from a Ninja Zord. The coin will allow them to enter and steal one. Zed also has the best line during this when he says, "What is it this time, Finster? A monster that blows itself up?" After Kat took the coin, Kimberly started to get incredibly weak, but they can't worry about that right now as Goldar attacks. Tommy goes with Ninjor to fight while the others get Kimberly to the command center. Goldar grows giant size, so Ninjor grows and Tommy summons the White Falcon Zord. But this is when Kat infiltrates the Falcon Zord and kicks Tommy out, taking it for herself. Man, it must not feel good to be on the other end of that. And then things get worse as Goldar defeats Ninjor and the bad guys take him away. They transform the Falcon Zord into an actual falcon, locking it in a cage. And they trap Ninjor in a bottle to use as a power source. As Zordon explains, the reason why Kimberly is getting weak is because Ninjor tied their new powers in with their own natural energies. And since it was stolen, her body is being affected. That's a pretty big design flaw, Ninjor. Even worse, since the Falcon Zord is gone, the other Ninja Zords are out of commission. Okay, that bit's a little iffy. They form the Ninja Megazord without the Falcon Zord all the time. Later, Rita and Zed send out an attack on 2 fronts. A monster for the Rangers to deal with and a staged attack on Kat. This forces Kimberly to go out to try and help, but that's what the bad guys wanted and they capture her. Later, they hook her up to this machine to drain all of the power out of her, which will eventually kill her. This is very shocking. After After a whole season of failing, Zed has finally gotten the biggest W's. He kidnapped Kimberly, trapped Ninjor, disabled the Ninja Zords, took the Pink Ranger coin, stolen the White Falcon Zord, and has his own fleet of Zords. We then get this awesome scene that really should get more recognition. Zed tells the Rangers to teleport him to the command center, and they are forced to do so. It's a chilling scene as the whole command center shakes as Zed enters sitting on his throne, accompanied by awesome dramatic evil music. While Zed does crack some jokes, it can't dampen how cool this is. The biggest bad guy in Power Rangers is in the Rangers' home base, and he came with an ultimatum. He wants the Rangers to pilot the new fleet of Zords and destroy Angel Grove, as well as do all of his evil bidding. If they do that, then Kimberly will be spared. But if they refuse, he's just gonna wait around for Kimberly to keel over and destroy Angel Grove anyway. It's very sick, twisted, and sinister, and the Rangers sell it wonderfully with looks of anger and fear on their faces. The Rangers agree to this, but plan to do something else to get Kimberly back. There is some good character stuff here, like when Tommy is punching a bag, frustrated because Kimberly is losing his powers and he remembers how hard that was for him. Meanwhile, Kat is saying goodbye to Kimberly and for a brief moment actually feels sorry for her. Back with the Rangers, Billy found where Kimberly is and he has a plan. They can't teleport there directly, but they can use the portal comms, the same devices that let the Rangers teleport to the Dark Dimension when Tommy was captured in the Green Candle saga. Tommy gets through, but Zed is waiting on the other side. This is the only time we see Zed fighting Power Rangers, and it's against Tommy, the strongest Power Ranger. It's very cool, I mean, how could it not be? It's our main character fighting the main villain. Zed absolutely destroys Tommy, and it's clear because he's spent afterwards, but Tommy manages to destroy Zed's staff, forcing him to retreat. Things finally turn in the Rangers' favor as Tommy saves Kimberly and Billy manages to reprogram the Shogun Zord so they're in complete control now. They form the brand new Shogun Megazord and destroy a monster. The Shogun Zords and the Shogun Megazord, by the way, are very cool. Fun fact, they actually came before the Ninja Zords in Kaku Ranger, the Sentai Season 3 took parts from. But the creators switched them around because the Ninja Zords fit the Mighty Morphin Animal aesthetic better, which was the right call. Better to have the Shogun Zords, which look very different to anything we've seen, be the extra Zords, not the main Zords. The Rangers won the day, but the bad guys still have the upper hand, so it's not over yet. As for Kimberly, Alpha managed to sever her life force from her coin, so she's not in danger of dying. But without her power coin, she can only morph a few more times before her power is spent, just like when Tommy was the Green Ranger. A good moment to end the story on is when Tommy comforts Kimberly. He lost his powers once too, and it won't be the end of Kimberly. Next was a brief filler episode between story arcs to let things breathe a little. Follow that cab. First, Kimberly gets super excited because the world-famous gymnastics coach, Gunther Schmidt, arrives in Angel Grove, and he's doing scouting for his pan-global gymnastics team. Kimberly says it's been her dream since she was a little girl to meet him, and Tommy encourages her to go down and meet him. Unfortunately for Kimberly, her car gets stolen by a car thief Bulk and Skull were chasing. Rita and Zed turn the cab they are all inside into this cab monster, which is silly, but it's an excuse to introduce the shark cycles, the first time Power Rangers introduced motorcycles into the series. Zordon also says they were made out of the fin of a prehistoric shark. What? When did Zordon go fishing? Was that just a fish he caught thousands of years ago and it's just been hanging up on his wall? Anyways, the Rangers get Bulk, Skull, and Kimberly out of the cab, and the Rangers defeat him with the Shogun Megazord. The episode ends with Bulk and Skull actually getting a dub for once. They catch the car thief and return Kimberly's car. I really like this because it gives Bulk and Skull a nice moment with Kimberly to show off how far their relationship has come since the first episode. There, they tried to assault her because she turned down Skull, but over 100 episodes later with tons of character development and story, they're great friends. The biggest and most important moment of this episode is one with Kat, where we learn the truth about her. Kat has a flashback to when she was a nice, normal girl, remembering she's not evil, she's good. Yes, Kat isn't evil, it's just Rita used her brainwash spell on her, the same one she used on Tommy in the Green with Evil saga. Kat actually starts to cry because she doesn't want to do any of this, but Rita reinforces her spell. But it's clearly wearing off, as Rita herself said in the Green with Evil saga. The only reason Tommy didn't break free by himself was because of the Sword of Darkness that made the spell permanent. Next up was the three-parter A Different Shade of Pink, where we wrap up this storyline and say goodbye to Kimberly. We start off by meeting Gunther, the gymnastics coach, who is impressed with Kimberly's routine. Gunther is so impressed he offers to coach Kimberly to prepare her for the tryouts, which seems a little biased, but hey, it's his team. Rita, being her petty self from season 1, makes it her mission to stop Kimberly from getting into the Olympics. Kimberly brings all of this up with the others, and they're all cool with her focusing on this this instead of her Ranger duties. Even Zordon, who says he would never let Ranger stuff get in the way of life-changing opportunities like this. It shows how much he cares about the Rangers and his gratitude for all the hard work they've done so far. Kimberly starts training for the Pan-Global Gymnastics, and Rita, to disrupt this, sends out 3 attacks at once. This forces them to bring in Kimberly, and they fend off everything by bringing all of the monsters to one spot, taking them all down as a team. It's a pretty epic, huge battle with all the Rangers, 2 monsters, Goldar, Rito, and the Tangas. Meanwhile, Kat is having more and more memories come back to her, particularly of her diving. Rita continues to send out attacks to drag Kimberly away from the gymnastics, but shouldn't the goal be to make her overuse her powers since they're temporary? Real quick, I just want to mention this. Bulk, Skull, and Lieutenant Stone have been doing great bits throughout this whole arc. I didn't mention them because I'm laser focused on the plot, but they are very entertaining. Seriously, I was laughing out loud at a ton of their bits. With all of the monster attacks and constant practicing, Kimberly gets very tired and keeps pushing herself by practicing at night. Kat is also at the juice bar and finally remembers what happened to her. The day she arrived in Angel Grove, she was captured by Rita and brainwashed to be her loyal servant. She also remembers injuring herself during a high dive in the Pan Global Olympics. At that moment, Kat breaks Rita's spell and rushes into the juice bar to tell Kimberly everything, but at that moment, Kimberly from exhaustion falls off the balance beam and hits her head, just like Kat during the high dive. Part 2 starts pretty serious with Kimberly being rushed to the emergency room to get looked at. We also get context on why the Mind Slave Evil Henchman spell has an expiration date. It's because the spell can't force a good person to be evil forever. As Vinster says, if you're a good person, you will eventually overcome the spell. And Kat broke out because of her overwhelming desire to do good and save Kimberly. Kimberly is okay, and after she woke up, Kat told her and the Rangers everything. They forgive her and understand, of course, especially Tommy because the same thing happened to him. Kimberly says she's quitting gymnastics, however. 2 reasons. 1, her Ranger duty should come first, and 2, she's scared she'll get hurt again. After some fighting with monsters, Rita gives the Rangers an ultimatum. Hand over Kat or they'll toss Ninjor into the Sea of Sorrow. Kat offers herself up for a trade to make up for the things she's done, but Tommy has a plan. Meanwhile, Kat tells Kimberly she competed in the Pan Global Olympics as a diver, but when doing the last dive of the competition after she had basically won, she hit her head on the board and lost the meet by 1 point. Kat hasn't gone anywhere near the water since because she's terrified, and Kimberly must feel the same way. The Rangers go to make the trade and they put a force field around Kat, but Rita didn't bring Ninjor. After a fight breaks out, the bad guys manage to grab Kat and plan on throwing her in the Sea of Sorrow with Ninjor. Kat manages to escape, however, and grab the Pink Ranger coin, using it to escape. The rest of the episode doesn't feature the villains, surprisingly, and instead focuses on the Rangers. First, Kat gets over her fear and does a high dive to motivate Kimberly to overcome her fears. It works and Kimberly nails the Pan Global audition, and everyone throws her a big surprise party. The only asterisk to all of this is that Gunther's facility for training is in Florida, and Kimberly would have to spend all of her time training. This left Kimberly with a tough decision. It's her dream to compete in the Pan Global Olympics, but she made a promise to stand by the others as a Power Ranger. She initially wants to stay, but everyone tells her if this is her dream, she needs to chase it. Kimberly agrees and chooses her replacement, Kat, who has proven her worth in this story arc. Kimberly hands over the coin, tells everyone she loves them, and they do the classic freeze frame high five. The final episode we're looking at today is Rita's PETA, a filler episode that acts as Kat's proper Pink Ranger debut as the epilogue of the saga. It's pretty below average as far as filler episodes go, however. The evil plot is just lame. Send out a small monster that forces Tommy to overeat. As an epilogue, you should have a pretty serious filler episode that goes over the consequences of the arc. Like after Green No More, where Jason was feeling so remorseful of Tommy losing his powers. The best parts of this episode are revolving around Kat, worried about not living up to expectations, but the other Rangers saying she'll do great. Adam even saying it was rough for him at the start too, and he believes in her. How the Rangers find out about the monster is thanks to Kat as well, because she's still somewhat linked to Rita and can pick up her thoughts. They defeat the monster effortlessly, and the episode pretty much just ends. To be honest, aside from the Kat stuff, this was a pretty lame epilogue to one of the best story arcs in the original Mighty Morphin. But with all that said, I thought the new Shade of Pink story arc was amazing. I'm not kidding, it's one of Mighty Morphin's best storylines, spanning 10 episodes, all feeling different and interesting. The best part was the changing of the Zords arc because of the rising stakes, but everything was amazing and should be the standard for departing Rangers. Go check out this story if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all later.